Hey guys, welcome to the video for the nucleic acid components. These notes are going to go on page 52 in your notebook. You're going to need some colored pencils. You're going to need a black, purple, orange, red, light blue, and a dark blue. I think I forgot a green. You're going to need a green too. And you're also going to need something to write with. Okay, and then these are the two sheets that you're going to need. You're going to need your half sheet notes like this, and then this is the processing activity that's going to go on page 51. You can just trim around the outsides here and tape that as a whole sheet on the page 51. Okay, so first we're going to start with our foldable, and we're going to fold it in such a way that okay, so what I would do is I would start, kind of fold it in half. And then you're going to fold this half down to the middle. And this half like that. Okay, so you have two flaps, and now you're going to take some scissors and you're going to cut this one in half. And then cut this one in half. So you have 4 flaps, and then we have one thing on each flap, and this one's blank. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we're going to title this, and we're going to actually need to draw some bonds because the bonds are not on this page. Okay, so we're going to title this Nucleic Acid Components, and hopefully we all learned that components mean parts or what something is made out of. Okay, and when we talk about nucleic acids, we're talking about DNA and RNA, and again the NA stands for nucleic acid, and if you don't remember, they're made of 3 parts. Alright, so now we're going to do everyone's favorite thing and color. Oh wait, sorry, we're not going to color just yet. First we're going to draw, then we're going to color. Alright, so you're going to draw a line connecting the sugar up to this phosphate, like right here. Because these are connected like this. And then you're going to draw a line over from the sugar to the nitrogen base. Okay, so we have 2 nice lines. We're going to connect the phosphate to the sugar and the sugar to the nitrogen base. Okay, now we're going to color. So you're going to find your purple, and just like in our last video, we're going to shade in our phosphate purple. Okay, we're going to kind of color code this similarly to your DNA replication notes, so you can use them together to identify things. It's like I planned it that way. All right, the next thing you're going to take is your light blue, which is the official carbohydrate color of Irving ISD. And we're going to color in our sugar, because sugar is a carbohydrate, light blue. Okay? Now, nitrogen base can mean one of 5 different things, and I know you've learned about 4, and you're going to learn about a new one pretty soon, but we're going to still color this 4 colors, so you know that this nitrogen base can be different based on what nucleotide you have. Okay, so we can have an adenine, which we colored red, or you could have a thymine, which we colored blue. I mean green, because this is very obviously green and not blue. You could have a cytosine, which we colored blue. Or you could have a guanine, which we colored orange. Okay, now RNA is different. It has one different base than DNA, and that's what makes it an RNA and not a DNA. But we are not going to worry about that one right now. Okay? So this is what yours should look like so far. Now we're going to number them, each separate part, so we know that if anyone asks us, what are the three components of DNA or RNA, you'll know that there is a phosphate, a sugar, and the nitrogen base. And those are the three parts, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to open up each part and we're going to take a little tiny bit of notes on the insides here, okay? So number one here, turn this a little bit, okay? What we have here, this is our phosphate group. All right, and this is number one. Okay, our phosphate group forms the side, which is also sometimes referred to as the backbone. So if you hear someone say, what's the backbone of DNA? It's the phosphate and the sugar. It just means the sides of the DNA or RNA. Okay, they both have the same two parts, and they do this along with a sugar. Okay, so there's two parts that are the sides. You have the phosphate group, and we're going to open this now down here. I'm going to draw a little line that separates it. Okay, and now we're going to talk about our sugar. Okay, our sugar is the second component. And this one, we're basically going to write the same thing. So it forms the sides, or the backbone. They can be called either one, of the DNA or RNA, along with the phosphate group. Okay, so they go kind of together. They're holding hands, and together they form the side that holds the nitrogen bases together. Okay, now DNA and RNA have different sugars, and so we're going to write down the types of sugars that each one has. So when you hear DNA, we are talking about deoxyribose. That's all one word, deoxyribose. The D in deoxyribose is the D in DNA, so the letters go together. If we're talking about RNA, that one is just called ribose. This one has an R. This one has an R. It's almost like it's like that on purpose. Oh my goodness. Yes. So deoxyribose is the D part of DNA, and ribose is the R part of RNA. Okay. Now, because I know how much you guys love to color, we're going to shade in these parts with the right colors. So our phosphate group was purple, so I'm just going to kind of color that purple. Our carbohydrates, which are deoxyribose and ribose, are light blue, so we're just going to shade this in light blue real quick. There we go. Purple and blue. Alright, so our last little bit here that we're going to talk about are the nitrogen bases. Now this is very simple, but it can seem confusing at first, so try and stay with me here, okay? So we're going to open up this whole side. I'm going to draw a line down the middle, and I'm going to label this number 3, and these are our nitrogen bases. Now sometimes we just shorten it and say bases, but you always need to know that they have nitrogen in them, and that it's a component of DNA is a nitrogen base. Okay, so now you guys remember, I hope from last time, DNA has 4 bases. It has adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Okay, now RNA has really specific jobs in the cell, and RNA's job is to take messages from the DNA outside of the nucleus into the cell where things can happen, because remember, DNA is trapped in that nucleus, it can't leave. So RNA is kind of like its messenger, and so it needs to be able to make a copy of DNA, but it doesn't want to be confused for DNA. So it can't use all of the same bases, otherwise it would be exactly the same as DNA and things would get really messed up in the cell. Okay, so it has 3 of the same bases and 1 different one. Okay, so RNA also has adenine, just like DNA, but here's where it's different. Instead of a thymine, it has what we call uracil. And these bases are how you tell the difference between an RNA and a DNA. If you see something that has a U in it, you know that's an RNA. If you see something that has a T, you know that's a DNA. That's how you tell the difference. They're like twins, except they have one thing that makes you go, oh, I know that that twin's DNA, and oh, that twin's RNA. There's one difference, okay? So that also means that they both have cytosine and guanine, okay? So it's very important that you remember that RNA has uracil. All right, and these things, they form complementary, which means to go together, base pairs. All right, I'm gonna draw a little box around this, and now we're gonna list our base pair matching, so we're never ever confused, okay? So for DNA, A and T go together, which also means T and A go together. C and G go together, and G and C go together, okay? Now, basically RNA just replaces the T, so in RNA, it's A and U go together, U and A go together, and then again it's still C and G, G and C. They're always together, okay? So in RNA, instead of a T, we have a U. That's the only difference, okay? Everything's exactly the same, except RNA has a U where the T would normally be. Okay. So I'm going to just pick red as our color over here. We're not going to shade this 4 different colors unless you want to. Then you can. We're going to shade this in red, and now you know everything that you need to know about the components of DNA, okay? You know that there are 3 parts. There's a phosphate group, a sugar, and a nitrogen base. You know that there can be 2 different kinds of sugars. DNA has deoxyribose, RNA has ribose. And then you know the bases for each and what goes with what. So you know DNA has adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, and that A and T go together, T and A go together, C and G go together, and G and C go together. And then for RNA, you know that you have adenine, uracil, cytosine, guanine, that A and U go together, U and A go together, then again, like always, C and G and C go together, okay? So you're gonna take this foldable, you're gonna fold it up nice like this. You're gonna grab your notebook, you're gonna tape it to the top of page 52, okay? Not to the bottom, not here, not here. I'm shaking my head at you, you can't see, but don't do that, okay? We're going to tape it up at the top, and then we're going to have activity for us to do down here, okay? And again, this is page 52. This is the right hand side. Then on page 51, you should have this components of nucleic acids processing activity, which you just fill out using your notes, okay? Thanks for watching.